what I've heard about them as a couple is that they've been living separate lives for a very long time. So they together, but they living separate.
Now,
maybe she doesn't know.
Beyonce doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think Beyonce. And they're not going to share that with her.
Yvette knows. I got the receipts. I still have the receipts.
Women who are supporting Cassie, who maybe have some stories about you that might feel a bit similar, you need to be put on mute. This is not your time.
So the streets are buzzing that Jason Lee might be holding some explosive tea on Beyoncé and Jay-Z's marriage drama. People are even saying Jason low-key tried to warn us about their separation way before anyone caught on. If you've been active online lately, you probably saw Jason stirring things up and shading Queen Bee right on his talk show. Months ago, he straight up cornered Beyoncé on camera, hinting he had dirt on her marriage with Jay unless she got Kelly Rowland to come bless his platform. That's bold. At the time, fans weren't buying it and clowned him hard for coming at Beyoncé like that. But now, with these fresh rumors swirling that Beyoncé might actually be ready to walk away from Jay-Z, everybody's running back to Jason's words like, wait a second, did he already know? The whole thing is looking way messier than anybody thought.
We can take it back a step further. We can go all the way back to when he was trying to get with Aaliyah. The Foxy rumors. This man has a legit history of what he's allegedly doing to Beyonce now. So why is it so far-fetched to y'all to think that he's not doing the same thing to Beyonce? Just because it's Beyonce? I'm gonna need y'all to take y'all stand caps off and put your thinking caps on.
So here's the scoop on how this whole Jason Lee mess really kicked off. It all traces back to December when Jason got salty after Beyonce left him off the guest list for her big Renaissance movie premiere bash in London. Now get this. Beyonce invited a bunch of influencers, but Jason wasn't one of them. He went on camera blasting her, saying she doesn't support black media. On top of that, Jason claimed he dropped a wild 40 grand on Renaissance concert tickets and merch for his crew, thinking that would guarantee him a golden ticket into her exclusive event. But nope, Beyonce didn't send him that invite, even though other influencers with way less loyalty and way less cash spent were partying right alongside her that night.
I think optically, when you don't include other black leaders in the culture in the fold, I mean, not just take me out of it. The Breakfast Club, I mean, you should have honored and brought more black. And I spent thousands, over $40,000 in tickets and shared the experience with friends. And I've done a lot, and I'm not even gonna say it here because if I did, this internet, Beyonce's good internet would go crazy.
Now peep this. After Jason went off with all his little rants, he hopped on his show and started dropping hints about the dirt he claims to have on Beyonce. And trust me, the guests sitting there were frozen, jaws on the floor, eyes wide, like they could not believe what they were hearing. But Jason wasn't done. He turned it up a notch and basically tried to blackmail Queen Bee on air. He straight up said he'd keep his mouth shut about the secrets he's holding, only if she could pull strings and make Kelly Rowland sit down for an interview with him. Wild move.
I'm gonna tell them while Johnny puts a beep, but you'll never know what it is, but I want you to see their reactions. Ooh. And that's where I go back, we're friends. Can you imagine had I put that on Hollywood Unlocked? Oh, there's one more thing, beat this, Johnny.
Woo!
So that in itself, I think Beyonce could have gave me a...
Maybe she doesn't know.
Beyonce doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think Beyonce, and they're not going to share that with her.
knows. Now, if I get that message to Beyonce, I'm connected. I could get the message to Beyonce. You know that, Yvette, we're trying to book Kelly Rowland right now. Now, if I don't get Kelly Rowland, then it's going to be a problem. Then I'm putting out receipts.
Back then, fans brushed Jason's rant off, saying he was just being bitter and clout chasing. Nobody really thought he had any real tea on Beyonce. But fast forward to right now, and the rumor mill is going crazy with whispers that Beyonce might actually be splitting from Jay-Z. People on social media are connecting the dots, wondering if this is the very tea Jason was dangling and threatening to spill all along. And for anyone confused about where these divorce rumors even came from, let me lay it out. Jay has already admitted to stepping out on Beyonce before, and he's been linked to plenty of women over the years. But the latest drama really popped off when folks started digging into Jay-Z's ties with Diddy. Word on the street is, Beyonce was blindsided by some shady business moves Jay was allegedly making with Diddy, and now she's trying to distance herself before the whole situation explodes in their faces. Everybody knows Jay-Z and Diddy were locked in like brothers for decades, but things got real shaky not too long ago, right before Cassie dropped that lawsuit bomb. In an interview, Diddy bragged that only 2 people in the world get to call him Sean, his mom and Jay-Z. He was clearly trying to paint their bond as unbreakable, like they were family. But here's the kicker. At the time Diddy said that, he most likely already knew Cassie was gearing up to file her explosive lawsuit. Her lawyers even claimed he had been trying to cut deals for ages, allegedly offering her millions just to keep quiet. Now, some folks are convinced Diddy name-dropped Jay in that interview on purpose, as if he was sending a warning like, don't get involved in this mess, because if I go down, I'm taking you with me. And it gets darker. Rumors in the industry are saying Jay and Diddy have more in common than people think when it comes to how they treat women. Jaguar Wright even came forward with wild claims, saying Jay might actually be worse than Diddy. According to her, the reason Jay has stayed silent through all of Diddy's chaos isn't loyalty, it's fear. Because if Diddy decides to open his mouth, he could expose Jay too. And that includes how he allegedly treats Beyoncé behind closed doors.
Sean Carter is worse.
Uh-oh. Oh, man.
He's smarter. He's patient. He's not sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
This been lining up people he calls friends and stepping to the side while they get hit by the guillotine for 30 years.
But wait, this tea gets even hotter. Jaguar didn't just stop at calling Jay out. She dug deep into those long-running rumors about him, allegedly messing around with younger women in the industry. Names like Foxy Brown, Aaliyah, Tierra Mari, and even Rihanna have all been whispered in the mix, and fans have not forgotten. And then there's his sketchy connection with R. Kelly. Jay flat out refused to cut ties even after Kelly's disgusting crimes were dragged into the light. That alone had people side-eyeing him heavy.
Oh, Jay-Z. And he was working with R. Kelly, and they were making so many records together. You know, they made all those records together. They both, Aaliyah. They shared so much in common.
And on top of everything else, Beyoncé's own fans have been side-eyeing her relationship with Jay for years. The timeline of how they even met has always been a little shady. Beyoncé once said she was 18 when they first crossed paths and that they started dating a year later. But in a 2007 interview with Charlie Rose, Jay-Z slipped up big time. When asked how long he'd known B, he got nervous and accidentally admitted they'd met 10 years earlier. That little detail had people raising eyebrows fast.
Wow, a long time.
How long? 10 years?
However long she's been recording. That's when I met her.
Well, don't you remember how long it was?
Yeah, when I met her. I mean,
Was it 5 years ago? Was it?
I met her 10 years ago.
But did you say to yourself at that time, wow?
I said, yeah, that's a fantastic talent.
Was that what you said?
Yeah.
So when you do the math, that slip means they met back in 1997. Beyoncé would have been just 15 or 16 while Jay was already 28. That age gap alone has fans digging through his past relationships, and the whispers aren't pretty. Word on the street is that before Beyoncé, Jay was allegedly getting close to Foxy Brown when she was still in her mid-teens, promising to turn her into a star. People are calling it the same type of situation Diddy had with Cassie. He was 36 while she was just 19, and the comparisons don't stop there. Over the years, rumors have swirled that Jay allegedly got Beyoncé hooked on substances, a claim her supposed ex-bodyguard Uncle Ron has pushed. According to him, Jay is the one holding the reins in their relationship, keeping Beyoncé under control and calling all the shots through that influence. Wild allegations.
Yeah, Beyonce's on. She's been on them for a long time, and you keep her that way.
And Jaguar didn't hold back either. She went as far as claiming Beyoncé is basically trapped, living like a prisoner in a fancy gilded cage. All the luxury on the outside, but no real freedom on the inside.
Talking about free Britney, y'all need to be doing a campaign that say free Beyonce.
Beyonce is free.
She is a prisoner in a gilded cage.
But here's the twist that really sent these divorce rumors spinning out of control. Jay-Z recently jumped in to defend Beyoncé against the Grammys, calling them out for never giving her that long overdue Album of the Year trophy. At first, people were clapping for him, giving Jay props for standing tall for his queen. But sharp-eyed fans couldn't ignore how Beyoncé looked. She seemed tense, almost annoyed, instead of touched by his speech. And then came the strangest part. When Jay was up there praising her, he didn't even call her Beyoncé. He referred to her as this young lady. That awkward choice of words had fans buzzing with questions.
So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work.
And then comes the part that had everybody scratching their heads. Right after Jay finished his little speech, he, Beyoncé, and Blue Ivy dipped out of the Grammys. Now tell me that's not strange, especially since Jay was there to accept his own Global Impact Award. So wait a minute. He respects the Grammys enough to step up and take their award, but at the same time, he's dragging them for being biased against his wife? Like, make it make sense. And even wilder, why put Beyoncé on the spot in front of millions of people, only to not even say her name, or at least call her my wife? Fans couldn't shake the weird vibes, and plenty said the moment felt eerily similar to when Diddy shouted out Cassie at Bet just months before her lawsuit dropped. On top of that, word is Beyoncé's been grinding harder than ever, pushing her new hair care line, rolling out a fresh album, all because she's on a money mission. Rumor says she's trying to secure her own empire separate from Jay before all the dirt about his alleged shady dealings with Diddy comes crashing down. And now, people are starting to wonder if that T. Jason Lee teased about Beyoncé was tied to Jay-Z's friendship with Diddy, especially since Jason made those comments right after Cassie's lawsuit blew up. The dots are connecting, and fans are shook. This whole situation is looking messier than a spilled drink at the club. And Jason, he might be holding some serious tea about Jay and Beyoncé that could shake the whole game if he ever decides to let it out. Nobody knows if he's gonna spill the entire pot. But one thing's for sure, when Jason starts talking, he doesn't hold back. The socials are already lit with takes and opinions, and fans are saying they wouldn't be shocked at all if Jay-Z ends up exposed as even worse than Diddy. But here's the twist. Some people aren't seeing Beyoncé as the victim either. A lot of folks believe she might be stressing over her own skeletons falling out the closet if Jay goes down. That's why this drama feels like it could go in any direction. So tell me, do you think Beyoncé's actually ready to file those papers? Or is she too deep in this empire to pull the plug now? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like, subscribe, and share button, and I'll catch you in the next video.